Greetings to all the subscribers. Today we are going to do a video that is very unlike any videos that I've ever done. The name of this video is How to Be a Big-Time Preacher. Yes, now some of you may aspire to be a big-time preacher. So I'm going to give you some tips. Now this is just a partial of what we have to share, and I'll give you some information how to get the whole package later. Okay, here we go. So the thing you have to learn first is how to scratch. All right, so for all those itching ears out there, you have to learn how to scratch. And remember, once you find the itch, you have found your niche. Okay? So, and there's different routes to take. The two different routes that we could talk about would be the Babel route and the non-Babel route. Today we are going to discuss the Babel route. Okay, so we have the Babel route and the non-Babel route, and the non-Babel route will be covered on the DVD that we will talk about later. So the first thing on the Babel route is you have got to get your Babel on. That means you need to make up a language that has never been spoken before, never learned before, and it doesn't matter what it is, you make it up as you go. And once you get good at it, then you could just sprout out the language, you know, whether it's gobbledygook, a boopy boop, or you just make it up. It doesn't make any difference. Nobody cares. Nobody understands it anyway. So you get your Babel on. That's the first thing. The second stage is you have to learn to pass the Babel. Okay? Once you get your Babel on and you learn to pass the Babel so that it encourages others to babble in their language, then both of you are basically kind of on the same level. Okay? Now, the next step is you got to get the slap down. All right? The slap. All right? The slap is when you take your hand and you hit the forehead of somebody standing in front of you. Now, you can't do it too hard, because if you do it too hard, you may actually knock them out, and that wouldn't be good. Well, not too hard, but hard enough to where they actually feel it. Now, when you begin doing this, you're going to have to use what they call a catcher. That means somebody has to be behind them to catch them, and they have to know that they're there, so when you slap them, they don't feel, fearful about falling down, because they know they're not going to hurt themselves anyway, because somebody's there. And then, of course, if you're dealing with women, you may need a blanket or something to throw over them, so, things don't, well, you know what I mean. So anyway, get your Babel on, learn to pass the Babel, and then get the slap down. Now, once you have really got the slap down, you may not even need it. You may be able to progress to the large crowd, no catcher wave. Okay? And I've seen people do it with coats, and with their hand. I've even seen one guy he'll blow, and they'll all fall down. That's really, man, that's big preacher stuff there, when you can, then they all fall down. So let's just recap. Get your Babel on, learn to pass the Babel, and get the slap. Now, it all helps if you have some hypnotic music that you can play for a while, and there's some songs with a lot of repetition. And you just do that over and over and over again. It kind of sets the mood and gets people ready to fall down or to jibber, jabber, that kind of stuff. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next phase of this. The next phase is teachings. Some of the things on the Babel route, not necessarily the non-Babel route, of course, would be tongues. That's the Babel part. You got to teach them how to use the tongues, and they have to believe in it and go for it, okay? Then there's also healing, where you got people there and you're going to hit them on the head, and they're going to get healed, and that can happen, all right? Then there's also the wealth part. Now that's an important part. You can't leave the wealth part out. You can't leave out the name it and claim it part either. That's got to be there, because if there's no wealth, no name it and claim it, you may not get as big a crowds as what you're looking for. All right. The other things on the teachings now, you got to get it down on the secret rapture. That's an important part of the Babel Route. You got to have the secret rapture with the 7-year holy vacation. So they get the rapture, the 7-year holy vacation, and you have to throw in the second chance option. The second chance option is if they miss the holy vacation, even though they miss that part, they still have a 2nd-year option for the 1,000 years on the earth with the Jews, the mortals, and the immortals. Okay, have you got that? You got to have all that down. And plus, if you don't fall away after all of these things, you get to go to heaven. Now, you got to remember this. You know how in real estate they have a saying, it says location, location, location. Well, remember, Arminian. Don't go over here. Don't go over to this tulip thing, and whatever you do, don't get into sound doctrine. That'll mess up everything. If you go to the sound doctrine, the itch and ears thing doesn't work anymore because they don't want to hear that. It says that in the last times they don't want to hear it, so you're actually getting the crowd that is in the last times and don't want to hear it. That's who you're picking up on. Okay, so I've already covered that part. And now, but wait, for $29.95 and shipping and handling, you can get a DVD for the non-Babel part of this, and you send the money to Snake Oil Ministries at Semiramis, Ohio. Remember, Snake Oil Ministries, Semiramis, Ohio, how to become a big-time preacher. All right, I hope you have benefited from this video, and I don't know that we're going to do any more. Bye-bye.